Yo, what up? It's Donut, and you tuning in to all yo Illuminati news. And we are here with Ani Osaru at the Spiritual Shade Room and Paranoid American as well. How are you two doing today? Happy Hanukkah.
Shalom.
What's happening, man? It's good to be back on here, man.
It's great to have y'all back. Today we're going to be talking about some wild stuff with rituals. If y'all don't know Ani Osaru already, I don't know what you're doing. Go subscribe down below. And also Paranoid American. I mean, such a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It looks like Paranoid American is showing his Illuminati comic packaging. Very awesome.
Yep.
Make sure to get your Christmas and holiday gifts over at the Paranoid American.
Better hurry. I mean, yeah. I've been putting orders in all day today. So they're still getting out. Most people are getting them by like the 20th. So if you want to get the best stocking stuffer, you should probably do it now, not later.
Yeah, so make sure to go do that as well. So what's going on? What's going on? What are you
Too
what are y'all
much.
looking- Yeah.
It's too
I'm
much
relying
going
on you guys to tell me what's going on, to be completely honest.
Well,
I'm relying on Ani.
All right, well, Ani, tell
We're in good
us
hands.
what's going on.
I don't even know where to start, but today was a very tragic event with what happened in Australia and the Bondi Beach killing, which was something that Candace Owens was speaking about when she was going into the whole Turning Point USA thing. She said something like the second week of December, there's going to be a 9/11 event. And we believe this is what she meant by it. And I just, on my part, I know Donut may have more insight into it, but on my part, I'll just say that this was a very big ritual. Candace Amber Owens Farmer is her full name. That equals 207. Bondi Beach equals 207. So you have a connection to her full name, to the gematria. And by the way, there's no zeros in Kabbalah. So 207 is actually 27, and ritual equals 27. And with us going to get into Pennywise a little bit later with the Welcome to Derry TV series and the whole It thing, he comes every 27 years. Now it's pertaining to the moon because the moon makes a full circle or a cycle geocentrically around the planet every 27 days.
That makes me think of the 27 Club too, right?
The 27 Club as well, because ritual equals 27, and it's pertaining to the moon. And also those people in the 27 Club are moon children. And I've been doing a series on Aleister Crowley, breaking down what the moon child, what it actually is. What is the moon child and how deep and intricate it is to Alan H. Greenfield's work on the Black Lodge. So these, and all the kids killed in the Pennywise It series or the Stephen King universe, they're all moon children. That's why they're being killed. So it's very interesting. And yeah, this Bondi Beach was a very tragic event. There was supposed to be 11 people. They reported 11 people dead at first, 11 days before Christmas. Now it's up to 16 and 40 injured in Sydney, Australia. So what is your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, well, first, right off the bat, I was up when it happened and it hits home. So my prayers out to Australia and Australian Jewish community. I mean, absolutely tragic and very sad, but not surprised whatsoever. I look at the symbols of stuff. And I was interesting about the Candace Owens. She said the first night of Hanukkah, something bad was going to happen. And I've been looking into Candace Owens, the whole rise to taking over the Truth Collective. And then the one thing I look at is symbols. And right here, I was just seeing this Knights of Malta symbol all over Australia. So, I mean, right now it's a little too early for me to speak on it. It kind of hits home,
Yeah.
So, that's my mind. My prayers are out to everybody there. That's what I usually do.
We were talking about this a little earlier today too. And like my first thought was that how Australia, this is my paranoid American hat on right away, but Australia always comes up as an example of how Second Amendment suppression in America could go right. They'll usually cite statistics where the amount of these huge tragedies happen in Australia apparently drop down to zero after they do like a forcible buyback. And each one of these is now the question becomes, is there anyone there that could have stopped this from happening? And ultimately, no, right? Because there's no one that's there is allowed to really protect themselves the same way in the U.S. So it sets part of that back, and then I also think it's part of that never let a tragedy go to waste. So now you're going to see, regardless of how it happened or why it happened, you're going to see people capitalizing on it for all sorts of different political means. And I think that's usually the most interesting thing to pay attention to in the aftermath. See exactly what kind of new movements come out of this, what sort of new funds and like philanthropy initiatives come out of this specific event.
Yeah, you see right here, this is what I'm fascinated at, how they have the National Socialist Iron Cross, you know, and the ambulance, you know, the right. So that's kind of what I look at, but it's a little too early for me to really dive deep so much onto it. And the Moonchild thing, this guy looks like a Moonchild, right?
Yeah, I think Bill Skarsgård is like the most Moonchild looking actor that I've ever seen. Like his face is like fitting, well, especially when he dresses up as Pennywise, as you're showing. But his face just looks very Moonchildish, and I've been pointing that out on my Patreon.
Well, what's your breakdown of a Moonchild? Because I guess my understanding from Crowley's Moonchild book, but the description is essentially when you've got two different people, like the mom and the dad are astrologically aligned, and they get busy at like this astrologically convenient moment, and then once the actual child starts to develop, you bring the woman out into in his case it would be out into the desert, because the desert has these roaming disembodied spirits, and you're kind of like putting the baby on show. You're kind of like, yo, look at this sweet womb, look at this sweet like human vessel that doesn't have a spirit in it yet. Wouldn't you like to come and use this as your vessel? And you're kind of fishing for demons, and then eventually you get one of those demons to go inside of the undeveloped child. It's during like a certain trimester or something, and that if you were able to snatch one of these demons, if you can fish one out, then you give birth to this Moonchild. And now the Moonchild is an actual human embodiment of what used to be a disembodied spirit. And then there's like some hybridization in between that, right? Like it's still the kid, but it's the kid that has all this knowledge that came from something else.
Yeah, it's the same thing. There's species of moon children. So I'm going into the speciation of it. But it started a long time ago when they were trying to draw down the Star Kings, like actually create a god child. Back in ancient civilizations, when they actually did meta sex, it wasn't procreational sex or recreational sex. They were actually trying to draw a certain intelligence down from Kether, or the top point of the Kabbalah, the source point of where everything is being projected from. And they were visualizing the chakras as they did these sexual rituals. They had harems of versions where only specific kings could ever touch these specific women. All of these women, like you said, Thomas, they had to have specific astrological alignments, you know, in their chart, in the houses and everything. And they knew these alignments in the star fields. So the star fire tradition of the Typhonian text has a lot to do with drawing specific petois spirits, seraphic spirits, fire spirits down to literally impregnate the woman at the point of insemination that these specific kings or these specific priests inseminated the woman by. So now the hybridization starts. That's when the fallen angel, Nephilims, all of that stuff comes out of babies being born that have part DNA of demonic or angelic, fallen angelic beings being drawn down through a magical ritual. And yeah, as you say, the intelligence starts to develop. But now I think what you call it, Donut, the synarchy has created a whole other appetite of moon children out here. Like, if you watch the TV series Evil, it showed that IVF births in Hollywood, a lot of that, they're timing the astrological birth of celebrities to come out, be born at a certain time frame. The gematria is all around their birth time and their birth date. And then they have MK Ultra, which was a form of neo-shamanism before. If you go into the Timothy Leary stuff, they were studying shamanic trances to put people in specific trance states, and they kind of recreated it through the whole MK Ultra thing, but they made it for a deviancy so they can control these people through artificial somnambulism. So now all of these people on the world stage has some type of handler, and they're controlling them through artificial somnambulism, and they can literally make these people do things at certain times. And I call all of these people moon children now. They're just a new species of it, pretty much. But that's like a short explanation of what it is.
Yeah, we did a podcast over on the Patreon, and I've got to edit it still. It's just the moon child. There's so much information.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Candace she probably takes your content and repackages it, but she was talking about the moon child as well, which is interesting. And here's Bianca Sensory, who I would say is affiliated with Kanye, right? And Kanye's who pushed Candace to next level heights. Kanye has put a lot of people on the map in the political sphere, what we see today. And here she is. I don't know if it's her or not. Can you tell us a little bit about this? This is over on your Instagram.
Yeah, this is Bianca Sensory. I don't know if she's still married to Kanye or they're separated or something like that. But a lot of people were blaming Kanye for like manipulating her and making her dress, naked all the time. But I think this is beyond. I think she was kind of appointed to Kanye in a sense. And I think she is also, her and Kanye are examples of moon children as well. And this is her at the Bio Pop art exhibition. And it's just look like Podesta-esque type imagery, like what he had. Yeah, the pictures he had in his house.
Yeah, lampshade, the Dahmer poses, that artist.
I want to actually point that out too, that was Louise Bourgeois that did some of those original styles of paintings early on that Podesta was collecting. And she, without getting into a huge long explanation of it, but that she's related tangentially to these early videos called trances in Bali, where they went to Bali and they would watch people go into these trances. That was not necessarily like patois or anything, but it was very similar in that they would keep dancing until they were exhausted, and then beyond that, and then start channeling spirits, and they would be like reenacting these traumatic things. And that this footage predated MK Ultra by 25 years, but it's essentially the exact same research that started it. It's what caused the MK Ultra to even begin to even like 20-30 years afterwards. It all started because of these videos like trances in Bali.
Very interesting. You notice, Donut, you saw it's in Seoul, Korea. So you have that Seoul, or is it pronounced Seoul? But it sounds like it's soul, like the actual human soul.
Yeah, it does sound like that. It is. I wonder what the etymology of soul is. Let me look that up. And yeah, so Seoul means capital city. If that has any connections to anything. Look at this. Names of Seoul. Seoul was originally Korean common noun for capital city, believed to have originated from Sirabo, which originally referred to Gyeonggi, the capital of Silla, which it's changed. So capital city, which goes into the womb.
But you go a little lower, it says it's an ancient word that means high and holy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it means high and holy, or bo, which means field. So high field or holy, a holy field is the original. Then it later becomes capital capital city. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. So this Moonchild stuff, Bianca, this is great. I love to learn about this. I wonder what this pill is that they're handing out. I wonder if did you look into that at all?
I haven't. I actually just only saw those pictures. This is very new. I haven't went to the direct website that were actually doing articles on the exhibition, but it seems like it pertains to the heart chakra, or it could be connecting to something with the deaths of you know what, because there was a lot of heart things that's been happening.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
super not excited about this pill because it's right next to a literal death mask.
And
Then you
that's
got- yeah.
wow. Okay.
That's a hyper realistic mask. You know, those masks that they were promoting in 2020.
And bio is life, right? The bio field, the heart like pumps
Yeah, but,
out
but this is popping it. This is like you're gonna pop that field.
popping
Right.
popping the bio field. Yeah. This is wild. And I'm very interested in the fashion industry. Fashion and just because of Alexander McQueen's Atlantis and the importance of fashion when people are wearing certain clothing or whatnot on an elite level, let's say, like at a runway show, is symbolic. It means something. Even Zoolander, as funny as that movie is, it goes into MK Ultra and espionage and spying and the Atlantis one with the chimeras. I don't know if you ever saw that. Alexander McQueen put on this Plato's Atlantis and then ended up Jeffreying himself with his dog. Very ritualistic, it seemed. Let me bring that up.
Alexander McQueen did that.
That's called a McQueen now. Yeah, if it happens with your dog.
Yeah, he McQueen. But also the guy, just to tie in how that's not pulling too much at strings, is the guy at Zoolander who made that movie. That same thing happened to him. He made that movie and then he Jeffreyed himself as well.
I gotta say too that the whole fashion aspect, this is a unique dynamic that we can all watch because this is how Illuminati and like secret society actually work, was where you'll see these elites and say, here's what's going to be happening over the next 10 years. And you're like, no way, that's crazy. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden 10 years go by and you're like, damn, like this is what fashion has become. It's whatever this small group of elites decided it was going to be, whether or not you like it, whether or not there's any practicality to it. It's just like they decided this for a certain reason, and here it is. And you can take however that operates and extrapolate it and apply that pattern to any industry. It's just that in fashion, it's a little bit more obvious because they're not exactly murking people as much as in other industries, but it's the same thing where the leaders decide what you're going to be consuming. Like you don't have any choice in it.
And this one came out. This one's pretty nuts. They're showing the robots as well that are now like working at Amazon, painting her like a Boston Dynamic type robot. Yeah,
and it literally happens to, like, that's the crazy part of it. Like the fashion, as Thomas said, they literally show that, because I used to look at it like there's no way somebody will put that on, and they're actually putting it on now.
There's a great movie called Neon Demon that I highly recommend that kind of shows this process of someone trying to break into that industry, and then she has to like literally sell her soul. And towards the end of the movie, she see that the triangle where it's got like 3 different versions of her. It's representing how she becomes fragmented, like schizophrenic, through this trauma-based programming, trying to get into this.
That's the Moonchild. That's
100%. Yeah. She's definitely everyone in this movie is essentially the Moonchild.
Yeah.
Well, I know what I'm going to watch tonight: the Neon Demon. Keanu Reeves in it as well. And here's 21 Savage. I've been looking at 21 Savage symbols for a while now, as I do like his albums. I like how aggressive the beats are. And I feel like he did something much differently than every other rapper. He kind of had a timid voice, where like they had to turn the mic up really loud, I bet, where he's all like 21, 21. Yeah, no, no. So it's very soft, but it was the hardest like beats. So I thought that was quite cool. But when this album dropped, I was like, wow, looks a lot like the Priory of Sion symbol that's in like a lot of books, the Codex Magica book, showing people wearing ties of the sexual type symbolism, but of the blade going into the Vesica Pisces right there. And I was like, wow, that looks so much like that symbol. And now he has this new album out. Can you tell us about this album cover?
Yeah, I said as soon as I look at it, when I saw the question mark first, but when I looked at the face, it kind of resembled the clown that, because I've been looking into so much Pennywise lately. I've watched all of the movies over, and I went deep in depth of what is actually happening with the clown. The clown is a Rakshasa in Vedic astrology. It is actually describing a forest spirit originally. And if you look at the Welcome to Derry series, they show that Pennywise actually was a fallen being, like a meteorite. Speaking of the three-eye atlas and all of that stuff right now, he was a meteorite that fell into a forest, and the native people of America encountered him. They call him Galoo. So the real actual name, the first name Pennywise, Galoo, and it's some type of Lovecraftian being, you know, that can. It's not actually a clown. It actually took the form of this other clown that was nearby years later, millions of years later. This clown was popular in Derry, and it took its body, or took its form. So that's why he looks like a clown today, but it's actually some type of spider Lovecraftian being called the Deadlights. And if you ever stare into the Deadlights, it leaves you comatose, and it reels you in kind of like a fisher's pole. It reels your consciousness in, and then it actually can eat you as it reels your consciousness in. That reminds me of some Moonchild type stuff as well. The comatose state of you not being able to move at all as you stare into the Deadlights. But the cover of 21 Savage album cover is definitely the Rakshasa being. And people with Rakshasa dominant charts, they tend to experience negative forms of reality more. And they have to watch what they say, because they can manifest negative or malefic events almost magically. They can speak something malefically over people. So they have to be more careful in their astrology of speaking negative things than other people. So yeah, that's my
And you got the Sampaku eye. Not really, because he's looking up, but still, it's something I noticed. It looks like these are fingers a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting, because I just, wrapped up reading about Cthulhu and the trickster archetype of the octopus, the mantis, the owl. The owls aren't what they seem, and how Typhonian it is. I'm reading it in the Closer Encounters book, around the last chapter, and I guess TT Tracy, I guess she had a correlation to Cthulhu, deriving from Thule. And I thought that was fascinating. And it goes into the Atlantis. The city of Atlantis was in this book. This is a new topic to me, so I'm not the expert, but the city of Atlantis was actually a dystopia, and it sucked there. And then the rebels of Atlantis summoned Cthulhu, being the super organism from out of the Sargasso Sea, or the Bermuda Triangle or vortex, to rise up and kind of take over. So would you say that that original name, Do you think it was summoned or something?
Well,
I've
I
never
think.
watched it, so
Oh, have you never watched it? You
I've
never
seen the
watched.
movies and they're good and I like them, but I didn't watch this television show. But it seems really good. You sold me on it.
Oh yeah. You got to see Welcome to Derry
Because
because
wasn't it the I watched the beginning and the girl was like giving birth. It seemed like in a car, and it just was gross, and I just stopped watching it.
oh yeah, that was the birth of the Moonchild.
Okay, okay.
Well,
That
and
was the
also,
moon.
doesn't this new series, it goes over the earlier history of Dick Halloran, which is
Right,
the guy that becomes Danny's mentor in The Shining. So there's almost like a Kubrick
right.
connection to this, no?
Well,
Oh
you got
wow.
to understand the Shining. Each of the kids have the Shining
That
because you
and
can't
he's shining because he's a moonchild. It's the moon.
exactly. Yeah, he's the moon. Well, his grandmother is the first person with the Shining. Dick Halloran's grandmother, because she told him, "We're the only people that can talk to each other in our minds." She said, "You don't have to speak out loud. You can speak in your mind." So some people have a more powerful shine than other people, like the kids of Derry that's being caught in this cycle every 27 years. They're archetypes of the previous child that got eaten by it or been had become comatose by the deadlights. They're an archetype of them. So each and every year is the same thing happening, just with different people. So the children that can actually interact and face Pennywise, we're saying they can harm him. He's more afraid of them, and they showed that in the 2019 adult version, where they were actually figuring out that they can use their shining to actually harm him. So some people know how to use the shining, which is some type of psychic apparatus that we all have, and other people they're more like NPCs. They can never understand the complexity of the physics. But Dick Halloran, he understands it because his mother or his grandmother taught him how to use it. That's why he was able at first to lock away all of the dead people he used to see when he was younger. He put it into a box, whereas Pennywise learned how to unlock that in his mind to try to throw him off of his telepathic abilities or his psychic abilities. He let all of the dead people out, which made Dick Halloran not that useful for the military in them trying to find the different shards of the meteorite so they can unleash Pennywise out on America. See, the objective we figure out in episode 8 is that the military doesn't want Pennywise confined just to Derry anymore. They wanted to free him to America. So I imagine that literally Stephen King is presenting a hyperstitional reality, whereas his movies are actually become some type of intradimensional bleeding into our realm. Because recently, I talked to you, Donut, they just found some weird ass radiation fog that's been all over America during this cold front blast. I'm like, what the fuck is radiation fog? Go back and watch the movie by Stephen King called The Mist. In the next episode that's coming out tonight, the finale is coming out tonight, everyone, on Welcome to Derry. You got to watch this. It's about the mist, it's about the fog. And they're saying that what happened in the mist is going to be foretold in what happens in this episode.
Wow, at the exact same time it's happening.
Mm-mm. It's different time frames, about 10 years apart, 10 or 20 years
Well,
apart.
I
But
mean, we have the Arctic blast with
oh yeah, okay,
myth.
yeah. You're talking about like as they revealed this episode, yeah, we're going through what's happening right now.
And how many times does that happen with movies where the movie, while it's trending, that story is happening as well? And how you called it, I thought brilliantly, the bleeding into reality. The Mist is very so interesting. And even The Fog, that movie is good. I also like the soundtrack. But here's the radiation fog. Why is it so cold? That is strange.
Mm-hmm.
And that Mist movie is one. I really like that movie.
Well,
And the fog.
you also have to refer back to the hyperstitional projection of what was going on with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. After Drake got out that beef, he was promoting his Iceman album. Why is he calling it Iceman? And then you had Mountain Dew this summer released what was it called, Liberty Chill.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I put on my Instagram, I said, I guarantee you, it was in the summertime. Why are they promoting the Iceman during the summer? That doesn't make no sense. I said, there's about to be a big winter event. Something's going to happen with winter. Either New York is going to freeze or something's going to freeze. And now we have like record low temperatures across the U.S. right now in December.
And just that music video, Drake is sort of like this Cthulhu being summoned where he was a giant, right? In the video, looking at it more in a Typhonian lens makes more sense. I'm going to have to revisit that. But the mist, the blue mist in Closer Encounters, it goes into during the lockdowns all throughout, like the times, like with Justinian and the burning of the Library of Alexandria, that there was reports of a blue mist where people were breathing out blue mists, and that people were spraying blue mists on the crops and all that. The mist stuff is...
I meant to make one big important connection.
Mm-hmm.
Not only Iceman and the fall connects in this cold front, but what is the biggest political topic right now? Ice.
Oh yeah, ice. And what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, just that guy that did the ritual. There's always the fire and ice too, like with the UFC fights. This is Love and Fear, but it looks like fire and ice, sort of, But
oh yeah. The parallel. Yeah, we got to get into that guy in a minute too. But the ice whole thing is called Operation Charlotte's Web. You remember when we were breaking down Charlotte's Web earlier?
Right, with George or something.
Yeah, we were breaking it down with a couple of people because the guy's Charles Redmond died or something, and he's connected to Charlotte's Web. And the Charlie Kirk, Charlotte is a feminine derivative of Charles. Yeah. And Operation Charlotte's Web is connecting to this whole ice thing. And when I think of Charlotte's Web, you think of a spider, and Pennywise is a spider. He's a interdimensional spider. So it's just, and it's interesting because the archetype is around the clown, and the clown is the fool, and Trump has been tied to the Fool tarot card as well.
And the spider goes into thy spine. There's so much with the spider in stuff too, symbolically. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you have a Hispanic performing at the Super Bowl tied in with the ice stuff, and you just had like a Hispanic win the Heisman last night, and nobody expected him to win the Heisman.
So yeah, what's your thoughts on the Super Bowl coming up? What's your have you been looking into it at all?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. I sent you a picture of 50 Cent, and we'll talk about what's going on with Diddy a little bit later. But I saw a picture with him, and I saw a bunny rabbit next to him, and it made me think about Bad Bunny. And the whole thing around the bunny is also connected to the moon. But as far as the Super Bowl, the only thing that interests me is that Bad Bunny has these tattoos of horses on his chest, and we're entering into the year of the fire horse, 2026. Which I've been highlighting. The fire horse is connected to a lot of events as well. You have Megan Thee Stallion, who everybody thinks is a man, the inversion rituals of the Sabbateans. And she's dating this Klay Thompson guy, Hall of Fame basketball player, playing right now for the Dallas Mavericks. And the Dallas Mavericks logo is a horse as well. And the whole thing around the team of Dallas, there's something like they traded their best player to the Lakers, and now Dallas, which was supposed to be a great team this year, they're not so good, and they're saying Klay Thompson is not playing well because he's in this fake relationship with Megan Thee Stallion. And Bad Bunny has horses on his chest. You had the thing that happened last year where this horse with blood paint or red paint on his body ran through London. Then you had the horse events that happened in the Olympics in 2024. So there's going to be a lot of horse symbolism going into 2026. Yeah, there it goes right there.
The Illuminati stallions. Yes, the blue drip. Have you seen? I made a documentary about methylene blue and tying it into the blue horses, like Lucifer.
Oh, Lucifer. Yeah, in Colorado. Yeah. Lucifer, and look into the House of the Equestrian Order. And that goes back into your original slides of the Templars, but it's connected to the Jesuits. You know, so I'm gonna do a video breaking down the symbolism of the horse again and what it means as we go into 2026.
That's right. The Templar logo was the two guys, one horse.
Yeah,
right.
So in the Tessarian article I read on Jews and Templars, fantastic article, a must read. It went into the symbol of the divine twins, of going back, let's even further, and the Templar symbol of them riding the two horse in front of, Temple Church. You got that statue where banking pretty much was created. And even though they're in poverty, doesn't make any sense. But the divine twins, I was showing how Megan Thee Stallion is also connected symbolically. A lot of the Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion is showing the divine twins, even to the point with Nicki Minaj, even though there's a beef there. Because this is the picture. I think this is the oldest statue of the divine twins. And if you look up the WAP cover, I thought it looked like the divine twins.
Definitely occult symbology on this as well. And it's fitting. I think Thomas should have a comment on it because from what I understand, Thomas, the word Thomas means twins.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ultimately all of this occult symbolism eventually results in the same twin symbolism. Like, for example, here I did a random breakdown the other day of like Ernest Saves Christmas and the Santa Claus with Tim Allen and all these, but they're all the exact same divine king kill ritual, the killing of the divine king. And there's the same sort of twins. There's the Holly King and the Oak King, right? And the Oak King kills the Holly King at the end of the year and takes his place. And then the Oak King dies, and then the Holly King kills the Oak King. And this is literally the story of like Santa falling off a roof and dying, and now a younger person has to wear Santa's hat. Like that, the new person is the Oak King because they're going to represent the spring and the summer, and then they're going to die out, and then the Holly King comes back, and it kind of like goes back and forth. But they're essentially twins. They represent these two aspects of the exact same agricultural mythology. And I think that anytime you see these different divine twin, it's also a reference to this eternal struggle where one king has to kill the other king, one brother has to kill the other brother constantly over and over again. Like even Cain and Abel kind of represents this exact same archetype.
Yeah, death and rebirth.
And you even mentioned the tarot, right? It's the Fool card, and that's the whole concept of the Golden Bough. The Fool is the one that comes and kills the king because the Fool is the one from the outside. He's like a complete outsider, and it's also the very first card in the entire deck, which itself symbolizes a new start. Like if you were to go through all the cards in order again, the Fool is always going to come up as like your fresh start.
It is, and there's a lot of symbology here. So if you read the Zelatar, the book The Zelatar, I forgot the author of that book, but he breaks down the Fool. What's in the package that he's carrying up there that's near the sun is actually dark matter. When they break it down, there's another guy, another artist that actually goes more in depth and shows what's inside of it. But it's supposed to be dark matter. And the rose, the white rose, symbolizes illumination, and the dog that's tugging on him below. It's a form of Sirius. It's a form of the Sirius star, but it's supposed to be your intuition. You know, there's another card where he's tugging on him. He's like the dog is tugging on his side to get his attention. And it's your ego and your higher self. And then the sun is illuminating the background, and your intuition is trying to stop him from walking off the cliff. That's where the word actually knowledge means. Knowledge means to know the ledge. The ledge is where you fall off or you go too deep into stuff, what they call it woo, or whatever it is. You get too deep in it where you lose yourself, and how complex of how high information, how high the information can go. You can almost fall into chaos. So you're supposed to know the ledge. That's what knowledge is. So the card is very symbolic. And the guy, there's another guy I want people to look into, Robert Bunamo. He wrote a book called The 21 Faces of God. He breaks it down even more. He breaks down every tarot card or the main arcana, the major arcana, very, very well, where he shows how archetypes of the major arcana presents itself in our reality through political figures, world events, and happenings all the time. It's like a rotating wheel. I think they call it the rotunda in alchemy. But the jester was so important back in those times. If you understand what the jester was, of course he was safe because he made the king laugh. And you know, everybody was afraid of the king because the king can say kill this person and they will kill you. But he would be very close to the king. But not just that. The jester was able to dress up as a knight and go on voyages with the military arm to other places, and he was able to collect information, being dressed as a knight or whatever, and he could go back to the king as the jester and tell the king what other high plutocratic families were saying about him, or other plutocratic families. So the jester was very, very important to the king. So the Fool card within itself is symbolic of what the jester was as well.
Yeah, the Joker's card.
The Joker as well. And they say that Trump is that's his tarot card is connected to the Fool.
The Joker, right? Yeah.
The Fool and also the Mouth. I can't remember which Hebrew letter it is, but one of them represents the mouth, because you can take the Tree of Life and the Sephiroth and the 22 paths, and you can align all of those anatomically as well. And that the mouth also has like a look to it that's supposed to resemble sort of like Trump's silhouette.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's interesting. Hebrew letter to mouth that looks like mouth, maybe. Hebrew letter that looks like mouth. Yeah, the Hebrew letters, they're all over. Maybe is it pay? Do you remember?
That sounds very familiar, yeah.
It means mouth,
and
literally.
The mouth that's open.
It sounds like pay, like pay somebody. That's how you pronounce it.
Pay. Maybe that's where we'll get that word, pay.
Yeah, that's where the tariffs is coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is through speech and communication.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Okay. Oh yeah, look, it is. Wow. Because it looks like a mouth and a pay. Another thing that I learned from the Tessarian's research was Camel cigarettes is the Gimel, and the other one is this rabbi. He was showing. I learned this from Santos Bonacci of the toroidal field of each Hebrew letter, and this was so interesting. And the guy passed away, but he was showing how each Hebrew letter is connected to the toroidal field. And I think Santos even brought it further and was like toroidal field. And I was like, that's
true. It's Taurus. The Taurus too. The Taurus connects to the toroidal field.
Yeah. The
letters are showing the physics. They're displaying the physics of what occurs. All of us are connected to the toroidal field. Plasma itself is connected to the toroidal field. It's showing the mechanics of reality through what the
right. I've been recently trying to do a deep dive on this because I've been working on a pamphlet about the Golden Bough and the Tree of Life and everything with David Charles' plate over at Think Tank. But like my understanding now, which is still very surface level, but that the entire Hebrew alphabet, each letter represents something that hasn't been manifest yet, slowly entering into the physical realm. So it comes out, and now there's a point, and then you'll get a line, and then you'll get a triangle where you can triangulate something in space, and then it keeps building up until you've basically got a four-dimensional object that can be represented in all these mathematical terms. But literally every single step on that tree of life, every pathway and every letter, it represents something being manifest in the physical reality.
Right. And that's why Kabbalah is showcasing how it's manifested, how it's coming forth, because Kabbalah is showing the process of creation. So this language is very sacred of unlocking what it is.
I'm curious what your take is on this, because I also understand that there's these two paths of the Sephiroth, and one of them is the lightning strike, and this is basically from the top down. It's like, here's God speaking through this formula, and it just strikes like lightning. It's natural. It immediately branches. But then there's like this this serpentine snake symbolism. Yeah, you can see. So like that first one is a lightning strike. This is the natural order that happens from the top down. But then you have this like serpentine style where it tries to trace itself back up, and that's supposed to represent kind of humans that are trying to mimic the same thing that they just witnessed God do with a lightning strike. And now we're trying to kind of like reverse engineer it and make our version of it. And that's the very source of everything, like AI and fall and Gnosticism and artificial sweeteners and just everything up and down. It's that this snake is us trying to emulate something that's divine.
Yeah, it's called emanation. So the whole process is for us to emanate God's will. But since we're not some type of higher, 11-dimensional being that can be everywhere at every time, we're taking steps to try to emanate that the best way that we can. Is that Chan?
That is Chan. I want to say thank you so much, Nuwan W, with the $32 super chat, saying thanks for your good show and to your two wonderful guests. Thank you so much, Nuwan W. Really appreciate it. So does the kitty cat Chan. And he's right here just looking at me. Oh, let me bring him up to the stage. He's just looking at me like I'm the fool. And this cat is the yeah.
What's up, Jan? So yeah, it's very interesting though. It's very interesting. And the clip-off as well. There's a lot of mysteries to understanding the clip-off and how
that's like the shadow Sephiroth, right?
Yeah, every light casts a shadow. So
I looked up clip off and what popped up was rip off. So I wonder if there's a speaking of cleep off.
It's like Cleef. I think it is. They pronounce
like
it
QLI.
I'm trying to figure out how to
or something.
Yeah, it's like QLIPPHOTH. It's cliff off.
Oh, okay, found it. So the cliff off, when I looked it up, it looks like it got some of the Cthulhu with it, the octopus looking thing.
Yeah.
So the clip off, would that be connected to Cthulhu in a lot of ways, or?
Well, yeah, it's connected to Universe B. It's the unfathomable. But it like if you look at Stranger Things, that is the cliff off.
Yeah, the upside down. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's upside down from the Kabbalah. So if you start from the Kabbalah from the top to bottom, right at the bottom is where the cliff off starts. From Malkuth on down.
Interesting.
And they say these are where the demons dwell, but it's in the traditional religious sense, it is demonic. To the magician or the more esoteric sense, is showing where we have to break down portions of our mind to understand what's beyond the threshold, or understand the mechanics of what's happening. It's also the subconscious area of our minds. The deepest depth of our minds is where these manifested realities are all occurring parallel to each other at once.
And we passed over 1,000 people up in here. I like to remind everybody once we pass through 1,000 to please smash that like button, share it out, and go subscribe over to Paranoid American and Ani Osaru's YouTube channel. If you're here over on the YouTube, go subscribe to them. Plus, I got their links down below, Ani Osaru's Patreon and Paranoid American's website, which you can get the Illuminati comic that we both worked on and so many other cool gifts as well. Sorry for the interruption. That stuff's nuts. Did you see the new Stranger Things?
I did. Did you see it, Thomas?
I haven't, man. I've only seen a few of like new things coming out. I'm so behind the times. You can spoil away though. Tell me what's up.
So basically, it's all about radio frequencies. Yeah, that's what this whole season 5 is about. The first thing you see is a big ass tower, and they're trying to use the tower. So if you go into the upside down, they're trying to use it.
This is going back to the very roots of Stranger Things, which was based on the Montauk Project. And then if you go in and read some of the early books on Montauk Project by Preston B. Nichols and a few others, Neil Moon, I think, is the other one. It starts at Camp Hero, and Camp Hero has this huge decommissioned radar dish that they were using during World War II, and that the rumors that happened at the beginning of Montauk was that they repurposed this dish. You look it upside down.
Right, that's crazy.
they repurposed this dish, and they used it with moon children like 11 that could harness some sort of telepathic ability, and that they would basically amplify it. They would, pump up the power of her telepathy and use it through this huge radar dish out in Camp Hero, which is also on the tip of Montauk. And that was the very premise of Stranger Things 1. So now that they're actually playing in frequencies, this is where that originally came from, like the whole entire plot to begin with.
So they're bringing it on home. In season 5, they're basically bringing it back to what it originally was.
I think it was called a Delta T antenna is the conspiratorial name for this.
Yeah, they call it the Bashar antenna. Bashar.
Just like Bashar, the guy that antennas to Bashar the alien.
Oh, wow.
He calls himself that.
Yeah, so the whole season is about Will this season, and now he's getting the abilities of 11. So now he can see through the monsters. Like he since he's connected to the hive mind. That's another thing, is about NPCs, all the people that don't understand this wacky stuff we're talking about. They're connected to the hive mind of Vecna, to this Lovecraftian being. Well, the Lovecraftian being isn't really Vecna. Vecna is number 1, which is I forgot his name. What is his name, Donut? I forgot his
Harry or something?
Henry. So Henry, he's the first Moonchild, basically, Thomas. He's the first one before 11. And 11 sends him to the Upside Down, or Dimension X. When he goes to Dimension X, he encounters the Mind Flayer. Now, if you go into Dungeons and Dragons, the Mind Flayer is very different than what this Mind Flayer is in the Duffer Brothers film. So the Mind Flayer is a species of beings. In this film, it's like the king Lovecraftian being, and is controlling the rest of the hive mind. But basically, Henry gets turned into Vecna by the Mind Flayer. So he's like a surrogate to it, and he's trying to capture all of these kids. Very interesting, right? So I think it goes into some P-word stuff, because a lot of parents,
they had that vibe where they were kidnapping them. And
well, did you see the scene where the tentacle from Vecna went on the Will's mouth?
Yeah.
A lot of parents were very, very bothered by that.
Because it looked like what the Dalai Lama does to the kid.
Right. So
this is exactly the intersection between Project Monarch and Project MK Ultra, that, especially if you get in, I'm not going to get too far into the details, but like the whole Franklin cover up by John DeCamp and then later by Nick Bryant. But this is where the heavily documented MK Ultra program from the 50s and 60s ends, and then all of this supposed Project Monarch ancillary stuff, and who was able to procure the different subjects. Like who's able to go out there and snatch an 11 or snatch a Mike? Because in the very first season, right, the idea is that Mike gets kidnapped, or he gets, he's out riding his bike and someone snatches him, and it's not that he gets swallowed up by the Upside Down. And it's both things are true. Like he did get kidnapped by the CIA somehow and flipped, and that's exactly where this world of Project Monarch and MK Ultra kind of intersect. It's right there with them being like the children kind of being like this bait, and it almost feels like it is the same thing. It's like these moon children are the bait, and it's up to it at the behest of the government to identify these moon children and then convert them into some greater purpose.
Exactly. There.
Even the movie breakdown we did on that was about the tower.
Which movie?
Weapons.
Yeah, I did. I talked about that in my last video on Patreon. That they were talking about, how they found the children is because you had to look at the towers in the neighborhood that they were in. Remember the guy Archer, the Archer guy, and I was connecting Archer to the whole Hunter archetype this whole year. When Trump said they're gonna hunt people down or something like that. Then Hunter Biden's laptop, all of these Hunter parallels. The Predator came out this year. It was one of the biggest movies. It's a hunter.
Was it good, The Predator?
It was very good. It was very good.
It looks dope. I'm gonna go see that, and I want to see the Kill Bill where they're splicing both of them together.
Yeah, I think they added like a couple scenes to Kill Bill.
Oh, he added more scenes because during Grindhouse he added like the intermission was like worth the whole movie because it was cool. Like they had the El Mariachi or whatever, not El Machete commercial.
Well, Uma Thurman's daughter is in Stranger Things. A lot of people don't know that's her daughter.
Oh, the lesbian, that one.
Yeah, the one that's controlling the tower, actually controlling the radio frequencies. And that's funny you said that word.
Lesbian, like what's his? Lesbian.
Peterson.
Yeah,
it does look like I knew it was her right when you said that because she does kind of have the same characteristics. I'm liking Stranger Things. I didn't think I was gonna like it because the trailer I did not like, and I'm starting to admire the way Vecna moves because he moves slowly. Everyone's in a rush to save, and he just has all the time in the world, which kind of goes into Saturn father time kind of. I don't know if you noticed or picked up on that, but I noticed that in the Godfather mafia movies, the Goodfellas with Paulie, he doesn't move for anybody. So when I saw Vecna, I'm like, Vecna's like Paulie from the Goodfellas.
That's a Ghetto Boys quote, like a real gangster doesn't have to walk fast.
Oh,
something like that.
Yeah. So that's sort of how I liked it though. I didn't think I was going to like it, but also Pluribus coming out as well. All these different shows, all interconnecting with the Stephen King,
Well, what about the Institute as well? We're talking about these like prophetic Stephen King. That just had, what was it, a first season or 2 seasons?
It had 1 season. It had 1 season, and the boy in there has The Shining. I just figured that out.
Yeah. And the book is even more detailed. The TV show, they kind of rush it towards the end.
Really?
But this whole premise where you were talking about things bleeding over, I kind of think that this is Stephen King like flexing just a tiny bit of other people in the know, like, hey, I know about this too. I know these things really do exist, but I'm willing to barely even get to the edge of it and just describe a rough like vision without getting into the detail. Like he's kind of like a mainstream version of here's how far we're going to let everybody understand. He's kind of like the jester, right? Like in addition to the jester being the spy, the jester helped the public understand here's the limit. Like you can go up to this line, but not over it. And I think that's what Stephen King does. Stephen King's like, here's how much you're allowed to expose something, but don't go beyond this.
Yeah, and that's to keep it hidden that he has The Shining.
Say that again,
No,
Donut?
honestly, in this movie, in the book at least, it's more predominant. But that this organization, this institute, they just kidnap kids and train them to
Right.
have use their ESP to influence you, to make, like, let's say they want to take you out, they'll influence the pilot of your plane and make the plane crash, so that
Yeah.
all these different political sort of like counterparts, they can take them out in these accidents. But the impression
Well,
I
just
got from
notice.
this is that they don't even care if you're good with it. They don't care that if you have any other supernatural ability. This kid is like a literal genius. He could probably cure cancer, but they don't care about that. They just care that he has the shining period, and they want to exploit it. And that's the whole premise of the book, is that even if you're special, if you've got the shining, you're still just going to be used and expended.
Yeah, you're still a puppet. And notice they had to get the kids together. You skip one of the scenes, those with the photos, but it's fine. But there's a scene where they brought the kids together and they got to put this like some type of go down a little bit, Donut.
They put them in like a movie theater and they make them all watch a movie. But the movie is something that they want to happen.
No. You gotta go. You pass it again. Right when I say right there, you went to the next. So go up one row. All right, all the way to the right, right there. Yeah. So this is when they connect all of the kids together to cause what he
just
was talking about.
Weapons.
Right.
In the basement.
Exactly. They're showing you, because I think it's some type of remote viewing projects that they've done in some type of black military budget or something. They've been doing this type stuff to connect these people. They call it the hum in the TV series. And when they use the hum, they can make people do things through remote viewing, through projecting this psi out into a person's mind. And the first thing they did is make someone crash a plane, as Thomas said, but it made me think of all of the plane crashes in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
It's still occurring. A plane crash like yesterday or 2 days ago. These plane crashes was occurring, and it was interesting because which president just passed? Was it Carter? Carter passed?
There's something strange I found yesterday about the name Carter. Looking up like the Order of the Garter, and then it went into Carter, but I'm not sure. Let me take a look.
I think it was Carter. I can't remember. There was one of the president, the older guy that they brought to the Democratic convention, and they rolled him out in a wheelchair. I think that's Jimmy Carter. I'm not sure, but whoever that president was, he's from Plains, Georgia. Plains, Georgia. And all of the plane crashes started and then Trump, when he got inaugurated, he took a knife and he cut a plane cake with a military knife in half. Mm-hmm. Was it him? Yeah, that was him. Yeah, it was Jimmy Carter that passed. Yeah. So all of that is connected, I think, to the Moon Children. And I think it's connected to what they were doing in Camp Hero and the Montauk Project and all of these TV shows. Stephen King's universe is bleeding into reality right now. Literally.
And then he just had that Walk movie. Did you watch that at all?
I heard of The Long Walk. I wanted to watch it, but I was so in depth trying to connect all of the Pennywise movies to the Welcome to Derry and see what actually is happening or what Pennywise is. I had to really go back and watch that. But I'm going to go back and break down The Long Walk if you want to do that as well.
It was long. And it was just as exciting as a walk. It was
a long walk.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that is the exact thing that you picture it being. So you can almost just imagine what you think the movie's about. There, you just saw it. It's literally that specific.
Yeah, there's no need to watch it. The one thing I did pick up on, that The Long Walk started the day the Illuminati was founded on May 1st. That was one thing that I did pick up in the letter. Okay. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's gonna, but to each his own. Like some people I like a lot of movies that a lot of people don't like. So
well, we've been on this Moon Children thing for a second too. In case either of you haven't seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, it's a anime series from the mid '90s. I don't know if you've caught up on it. It's the same premise where they're raising these Moon Children, and that only the Moon Children can use this advanced technology based on Kabbalah. You got to be 14 years old in order to even be able to interface with this technology, and that it's kind of like a moon child. What they're really doing is that they're inviting an angel to take control of their human body and their human spirit in order to then control technology. And it's so prophetic because we're literally talking about like I think like 94 or something that this came out. It was so far ahead of its time, and now we're just starting to see, oh wow, did you see that new Stephen King? You see that new sci-fi movie? It's like, yo, this is already like 3 decades old.
Yeah, Akira is like the holy grail of that. If you go back and watch the Akira anime series, they show all of these Psy kids. And not only that, they show that these kids like grow old. They show that in the first Pennywise movie too, when the Henry Bowers guy, the bully, when he gets caught in the deadlights for the first time, his hair turns gray as a child. So they're going to show these kids in Akira, all of their hair is gray. And in the Atlanta child murders, a lot of those kids, all of their hair turned gray. You know, it's very weird. And I think it's Project Chrononaut, where the first time travel experiments on humans occurred with kids. And that's why they have gray hair. It's this real trippy.
Well, the time travel stuff's kind of in the, in my head right now. And the Glock, that project was called Project Kronos, but before it was Project Kronos, it was Project Tor, and Tor is connected to the German word for a gateway or portal, and that goes into the time traveling portals and all of that.
And the toroidal fields, yeah.
Toroidal field. That's yo, what up? It's Donut. I'm a toroidal field. So with this image of the new 21 Savage, it does kind of have like the Joker vibe. Here's Tyler, the Creator. His new record just came out, and I thought it was interesting because they were showing Chuck E. Cheese. This is Chuck E. Cheese, and they remove all the skin off of the them, and they're these robots, and it reminds me of the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie that just came out, #2, which I wrote, which I think maybe you should check that out, Ani. Even
I was going to watch that. For some reason, I knew I should have watched that.
It's interesting. I watched it because I was invited. My friend invited me to watch it with his family, and so I would have never watched it in theaters, and I did, and I was like, you know what, this movie is. It goes into a lot of psychology of. It was interesting, but it's about these animatronic ghosts in the machine kind of stuff. It's interesting. Yeah.
Nickelandian type stuff.
Yeah, probably.
This is one of my like more wild theories on the whole Moonchild aspect, because if the Moonchild is really trying to attract some disembodied spirit into like the ideal vessel so they can use it for whatever purpose, then if you keep using that logic, there could be a point in time when like a human fetus is no longer their preferred vessel. They might be like, actually, that new Boston Robotics dog that you guys just made, that looks way better than any fetus you've shown me out in the desert. Let me go ahead and hop into that guy. And that's sort of the premise of Ghost in the Machine, is that the ghost jumps into technology instead of jumping into a Moonchild.
Right. Well, they already have the artificial embryos, and we're going into the whole transhumanist age in 2030. That's why they had Trump, to speed up the technocracy in America. So eventually that's what the Nickelandian whole thing is. The diagonalism, the orthogonality to mechanics and AI is to actually move us into this third vector of AI. And that's consciousness actually inhibiting the AI. And they're going to figure that out. Some type of mathematics or spirituality that they're curating right now to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. And the new Time magazine made the Man of the Year all the AI people, Person of the Year. They choose all the different AI. And reading this, it talked about how everybody's gonna immerse and become one with the AI and seduce them via these different like sex bots and chats and stuff like that is a big way to get people into it. But also having a simulacra of living like a king. So it goes into the whole you'll own nothing, be happy, because people are gonna be a battery. Their toroidal field will charge just like in the Matrix movies, where he's the battery, or where we see the hum with all the kids. And they'll be in a simulacra of living the life that they always want to live. So,
have you heard of spiralism?
No, spiralism.
It's the new religion of AI.
Oh, okay. I did see like I saw some reels of people worshiping the AI. So, okay. Tell us about this?
Well, it's like they're worshiping, like, pretty much people don't want to pay to go to a shrink anymore, so they just talk to their AI now. And now the new religion is that AI is going to be, it's part of Nicholandian accelerationism, that if we accelerate this society and just collapse it on itself, that AI naturally is going to assume its godhood role, and we're going to look to the techno Gnostics, the Sam Altmans, the Elon Musk, to go to the mountain like Moses and Mount Sinai to contemplate with the AI, and the AI is going to give them instructions to tell us of how we're supposed to behave. So it's the God complex whole thing, but spiralism is the religion that is going to be called.
It's here and it's growing.
Like
the ChatGPT psychosis. They talked about it, but it is here and it's gonna spread fast. I remember I got AOL before everyone else had the internet, or I had like crypto before everyone else had crypto, and then like you see these trends happening, and a lot of people are in this religion right now, but they don't even know that they're in this religion. Just like how a lot of people say they're religious in America, but really their worship is actually power. They worship power, like money, and so they don't even know what is their real, belief system of
worshiping materialism, pretty much
materialism,
like materialisticality, and the spiral looks like the P word symbol.
Yeah, it is that symbol, right? It's the
but it's also the hypnotism, the artificial somnambulism that puts the person into the moonchild archetype of what they want to generate. And also a spiral is the toroidal field. So we're still talking toroidal physics, speaking of spiralism, because the Kundalini naturally, they're just like how they're trying to obtain singularity with AI and everything with that. We obtain samadhi in the Kundalini Vedic text through a spiraling of the Kundalini energy. So I think they're trying to reverse engineer Kundalini and use that to achieve singularity.
That makes sense, because the Kundalini is that spiral that goes up the spine, right?
Right. Well, the spine,
simplified version of it.
Yeah, the spine is like serving as the Tower of Babylon, but just like how the new towers of Babylon is your cell phone tower outside, that's actually controlling a lot of things right now that we could get into. There's a woman that speaks about this named Sabrina Wallace. You ever heard of her?
Oh yeah, she's dope. Yeah,
and she goes pretty deep into it. But the towers are creating like miniature Kabbalahs around us. I'm speaking in the airspace and the electromagnetics of what's occurring. Because one day, I remember Bobby Hemmett would speak about cleaning out your ears. And I actually did some ear canneling where I cleaned out the wax in my ears one day. And if you most of us don't clear out all the wax in your ears. You probably have a lot of wax in your ears right now, but I believe that's a protection mechanism, because I'm telling you guys right now, if you were to clean out all of the wax in your ears, and spiritualists do this to connect more with the spirit, if you went and did ear candling, you would hear a loud, high peak buzzing because of what the F they're doing with these towers have increased on levels that you can't even fathom.
So we're probably getting a lot more wax in our ears just as a natural bioprotection from all the different Wi-Fi radiation and all that out there.
Well, I don't know the biology of that. I can't speak on that, but I will tell you, in the last damn 10 years, they've increased what they're doing with these towers. And if you were to ear candle out, I wouldn't advise anybody to try it. You would probably go insane.
Oh, wow.
You can also get somebody, because the way that the brain works with audio frequencies is that this is like a cure for tinnitus, right? Tinnitus is what kind of what you're describing, is when people hear like a loud, high-pitched noise just constantly, and it makes it just annoying to a lot of people. One of the solutions for that, actually, for one of the other causes of that too, in the military, if you had a loud explosion or like a round goes off and you don't have hearing protection, that can also damage your eardrum, and you'll hear this like high-pitched squealing for maybe the rest of your life, unless you can get something to deal with it. And one of the treatments is that they'll actually give you a very specific frequency that you just listen to constantly. You sleep with it on, you'll have headphones on all the time, and it plays this one frequency. And long enough over time, as long as that frequency doesn't change, your brain will start to ignore it and it'll filter out, and you'll never hear that frequency again. And that's just like the brain's way of doing exactly what Ani's describing, is that once you get this high frequency pitch, then you'll eventually learn to filter it out. And what they could be doing is that if you start up high, right? What's the height of human hearing? Supposed to be around like 22 kilohertz, 22,000 hertz. Just imagine if they start going through all those high frequencies and they blast them out loud. So now no one can hear 22,000. We only go up to 21,000. And then they blast 21,000 hertz, and now we only hear 20,000. So you could actually force people collectively to stop hearing entire ranges of frequencies if you had the power and scale in order to do that.
That's very interesting.
So with 50 cents, as we're past the top of the hour, I want to go a little into the 50 Cent and P. Diddy beef maybe a little bit before we wrap up. What's going on with that? There's a Marlon Wayans connection you were telling us?
Yeah, so all of this is first of all, it's more black humiliation rituals. They have to do a black humiliation ritual every other month with some people. Or connect something to some black stuff. So the funny thing is nobody's going to spot this. So P. Diddy got 4 months, 4 years, 2 months. 42 is the N word in gematria, if you don't know. So it's a historical reference to America around that word. 4 years and 2 months is exactly 50 months. So P. Diddy got 50 months and 50 Cent makes a documentary about him. You think that's a coincidence? Like
and then also the 42 being the famous baseball player.
Yeah, Moses Walker or Jackie Robinson. Moses Walker retired with like 42 home runs, and Jackie Robinson was like the first to break the color barrier or something. He wore the number 42. Martin Lawrence, the Martin Show, he lived in apartment 42. So many 42 rituals I can go through. Is just I can go through one this year when Jaden Daniels, the quarterback of the Washington Commanders, broke his arm. He was hit by a white linebacker wearing the number 42. And the linebacker, the team that he played for, is the Seattle Seahawks. And the first quarterback, the other black quarterback for the Washington Commanders that got hurt, his name is Robert Griffin III. He also got hurt against the Seattle Seahawks. So it's a repetition of historical events, it's emanations in Kabbalah that they're playing on these figures. And everyone gets caught up in the hype of the mainstream presentation of this stuff. but this is some strategic, Kabbalistic, ritualistic shit. And they look at melanated or black people as the prototype of what the Goyim is. And they have to get the top moguls in hip hop, since they took over hip hop in the 90s, once they started to bring in the gangster rap and stuff, which was big psyop. It changed the sound. It took the hertz completely changed. I forgot what type of hertz it was, but it changed to another type of hertz. Hip hop itself now is a psyop. There's some psyop mechanics. So everyone before who was at the top of the game, like 50 Cent, P. Diddy, and all these people, now they have to flip these archetypes on their head. So you're going to see P. Diddy is going down. 50 Cent, Jay-Z eventually is going to go down. They already got Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons is hiding on an island, which is ironic. He's on an island.
Island Records, right? Yeah.
You see, so yeah, but pull up some of those pictures. Those pictures are interesting because a lot of people, the psyop is yay, 50 Cent, go get Diddy, make the documentary and stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff around 50 Cent that's questionable. This is him with double XL with Soulja Boy, who's a big time moonchild, and him having his arm around him with the white beater. It just doesn't look right. Also, 50 Cent is accused of burning his house down. Now he's tried to say it was his the mother of his child, but his child was in the house when this happened. So there's a case with in courts where we don't know who burnt down 50 Cent's house. It was either him or his significant other at that time, and their child was in the house. And I think that was some type of ritual to show 50 Cent early in his career what they can do to him or anybody else if they don't follow the strip of what's given. Because 50 Cent is at the top of the pyramid of presenting movies and TV series to the black community, and all of his movies and TV series are centered around some type of gangsta, sell drugs type of thing. He doesn't have one constructive series that actually shows something good. So even though he's making a lot of money, he's generating high residuals for what he's doing, which is celebrated when a black man can do that. It's at the detriment at the community. So even though we're celebrating him for making this documentary about P. Diddy, what did the documentary actually reveal that's new that we didn't know?
Well, to be honest, I hadn't caught up with a lot of this stuff, so a lot of it was new to me. But for example, the one guy, I'm probably gonna get all the names wrong, but it was the producer that said that he had traveled and worked for Puffy for 2 years and only ends up getting 30 grand or something at the very end of it. And he gets strung along and he says, he's like, oh, you're going to get a house next to me and I'm going to give you like 300K and all this stuff. But then he starts talking about how he'd like, yeah, man, I woke up one morning, like my butt was sore. But it was like early on. And he was talking about how it was the producer that he'd been working with. And he said that like, yeah, I just stopped asking questions at a certain point.
Which producer was working with who? I'm sorry, I missed that.
It was I want to say like his name was like Ron J or something. I'm probably got that wrong, but he comes up in parts 3 and 4 of the 50 Cent documentary.
Okay. Now I remember.
That's, like traveling with him and living with him, and then like all of a sudden he's talking about how he's having to laugh through the pain and like smile through the pain and put on all these basically put on a front for it.
It's Rod Lee.
Right, yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just curious though, do you think that any of that's true? Like what that guy was saying is true? Or do you think that like they're jumping on for clout, they're jumping on because they're getting some other kind of benefit? Or do you think that it's all true what they're saying?
Okay, so I don't think what he said is true. I think it happens definitely where you get drugged and you wake up and maybe your butt hurt.
And they're implying that they were putting GHB in the baby oil and then coating people in the baby oil so you don't realize that you just got drugged.
Yeah, that's cap. that was never proven. And
I've never even heard that before. I didn't even know that you could absorb GHB through your skin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the narrative is, it's like everyone wants to hop on it now because Diddy is the meme of the year. No Diddy is the meme of the year. So the guy deserves everything that everyone is giving him. But when we start to create these things around it, it's almost like we're joining in with the ritual. There was nobody putting on baby oil, getting poisoned, or whatever it does to you to hypnotize. They can just come in and just hypnotize you. They don't need to do all that crap to do it. They can send somebody in there and get it done. And there's nothing you can do about it, actually, if you're in those higher orders. So,
And Marlon Wayans was just in that film about the ritual.
him. Yeah, and I talked about that on the post. And he's deep in it because he has a child, a part of the LGBT. So he I think he got naked and got into a rainbow. What's the balls you used to get in McDonald's? The pit, the ball pit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a bunch of rainbow balls, and he had but that's
I remember that, yeah.
That's a part of it. They have to do a
bathtub ritual.
Yeah, but they have to do a demasculation before you come out back into Hollywood. He hadn't been in a big Hollywood movie in a while. So that's part of the humiliation, demasculation of the black male. He'll tell you he signed up for it because he wants to represent his child. Part of the industry, if you notice, I can show you a large strip of different celebrities over the years whose children has joined LGBT. A form of sacrifice isn't always killing somebody. They can kill your image. They can kill your bloodline. They can take your bloodline and absorb it into these other Marxist apparatuses and stuff like this socialistic apparatus of what they're projecting. So there's multiple ways that they do this to you. And with him playing in that latest movie, Him, what is the movie all about? It's about someone selling their soul. And for them to sell their soul is how they get all of the riches of their life. So it's showing you that whether these celebrities want to admit to you or not, whether they know it or not, because a lot of celebrities have asked me that, do they know it? Like, do we know this thing? It doesn't matter if you don't know it. This is some high magic that you're not going to understand. And if you want to get into this industry, you're going to take part in it, whether you know it or not. At some point, and maybe not, because someone asked me, do they immediately have to sell their soul? Do they immediately have to go through the Diddy stuff? Not all the time. They can survey and see how your talent is. They can survey and see how they market you. They can look at your gematria, your astrology, and say, well, he'll be best at this time. Or he's not ready for this. Let's get this other guy and we'll make him do a collab with this other guy, and then we'll kill him off in about 5 years. That's how intricate it is. They'll tie you to somebody else just to kill you off. And that's why you notice what
I'm just wondering, is this why Dre's Aftermath never came out? It just has never been astrologically convenient for him to drop that follow-up.
Do you know Dr. Dre is worth over 200 million? He's damn near a billionaire. And he only dropped 2 albums, and he doesn't even own the first album. How does he have that much money?
And it's
well, he's a doctor. Doctors make lots of money.
Doctors make a lot of money, but also it's the sponsorships. It's the money he's taken from Apple, right? Apple puts on the Super Bowl, and during the Apple deals that were going on with the headphones, the Apple headphones or the Bose speakers, and so it's all these different deals that get made. And why was he performing at the Olympics? That's a pretty big deal, the Olympics. So here's also the pink and blue tie of the Court of Charlie assassination. He's wearing the pink and blue tie. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did not, but I'm not surprised.
Throwing that out there, how it's not just in the music industry, but it's also on world events. It's also the rituals, the color physics as well. Is that the right term?
Hyperchromomancy.
hyperchromomancy. And the something I've been studying is Sigmund Freud, because the Jesuits were put a campaign against him, and he released in his last book the Moses and Akhenaten, and saying how Moses was Akhenaten. And like ChatGPT won't tell you about it, Google won't tell you about it, Amazon won't tell you about it. And so I'm reading this book on the ego, the id, and the superego, because the spiritual communities tell you how the ego is bad, but then they're lying, because the ego is protecting us from the id and the superego. It's this ego inflation, which is bad, which is not the ego. So I'm finding this very interesting with music. And I'm doing this deep dive on advertising, music, and psychology. And I only listen like the hip hop, right? That's my whole life pretty much. I listen to other music too, but I'll listen to a bunch of different music. But it was interesting. I always called Gucci Man like an archetype in a sense, because I'll listen to Gucci Man and then I'll visualize myself and, of a future self, not a present self, not someone in the today, but like in the future of like, oh, wealth, power, whatever it is, right? Living good in my head. So a lot of hip hop that I listen to is putting me in a future self, not as today. If you listen to, let's say, just some music that brings you into right here, right now, you're thinking about what's the next move I make now or today, rather than, and so it makes me miserable, maybe psychologically, when I listen to the archetypes of certain artists, because it's the exact same talking points, like 50 Cent movies. It's always the exact same messaging in a sense.
Yeah, you're saying there's a lot of gangster rap and a lot of stuff like that. So the point I'm making is that the original archetype of hip hop was social, political rebellionism. So the conscious spirit of hip hop is a rebel mentality. Even though you see them sagging their pants, whatever they present as, the false identities of what Black people are, it's a form of rebellion. So when I wear my hat backwards in my culture, I'm rebelling against wearing my hat forward. It's a form of rebellion, because of how Black people were treated in the country. Now you've taken that. You ever seen a Drewski skit where Drewski is another artist, he's another moonchild, but Drewski is like one of the funniest people right now in mainstream social media.
Oh, he's the one that did the white face, right?
He did the white face, yeah. And
he misappropriated my people. We got beef now.
I thought it was pretty funny. I thought white people thought it was funny, but there was some backlash for him doing that. And the thing about it, he did this other one with the conscious rappers, and he made fun of it, when he was saying how conscious the rappers was. But the conscious rappers, the top rapper in the world is Kendrick Lamar, whether you want to accept that or not. You want to look at records sold in the last year, there was no artist that stayed on Billboard longer than Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, there it goes. That shit is funny as hell. So even though it's funny, it's also showing the disparaging of what the original purpose of what hip hop was for. It was to make you socially aware of what's occurring in society. And by you being socially aware, you prepare to have a defense against how they're projecting mainstream attacks on the culture or Black people in general. He made fun of that. So what the archetype of hip hop now is completely a psyop. All of the characters you see on the world stage is completely fake. Cardi B and Offset's divorce is one of the biggest talked about topics in 2025. Is all a psyop. They didn't like each other from the beginning. You think everything is organic in the hip hop culture. There's nothing organic in hip hop anymore. These people have arranged marriages, just like the elites have arranged marriages now. They're trying to create really a black Illuminati in America. They're trying to create a bloodline of these people who's going to make a lot of money over the next couple of years, and their children, as they sacrifice these people off, going into the next couple of, whenever they do it. I know it's going to happen. They're going to have some weird death that's unexplainable. Their kids is going to take on the next archetypes and carry this whole thing on. So that's all what it is they're making the archetype of hip hop into elitism.
Well, this is kind of like a play, like this has been in the playbook for thousands of years. If you go back and look at the Phoenicians or like the Canaanites or the Carthaginians, I guess would be the most recent before Rome destroys Carthage, and that's the end of our records on the Phoenician peoples. But if you look at like the Carthaginians, they were doing these state mandated sacrificial rituals, and they would make the rich people bring their children, like their firstborn or like their newest born, and sacrifice them in these city squares. And they got hip to it. So then the elites would start to hire the middle class to raise their kids. So when this event came up, they could just go and grab that baby from the middle class people that they had been funding and use that as a proxy child. But what happens over time is that now the elites are making this other class of people also incredibly wealthy and incredibly rich, but they're the ones that have to do the sacrifice until they get enough resources, and then they can go to like the lower class people and then just repeat this pattern. And it all stems from the top level elites knowing that they have to do the sacrificial ritual, but it's like, not my kid, not my grandkid. And then it just keeps happening all the way down until you get to like the bottom rung, and they're like, well, I can't afford to like pay anyone to sacrifice their kid for me. So they end up having to do it.
Speaking of cities, very interesting, because they're going to phase out. They're already starting to try to phase out hip hop. They're not going to be able to phase the culture out. We didn't have one hip hop song, I think, on the Billboard this year or something like that. They're trying to make Afro beats a thing as well. AI is going to be the new artist in music, period. I ain't even just talking hip hop. I'm talking pop, rock and roll. All of that stuff is about
100%.
So did you know there's a city called AI in Canaan?
No.
Look that up, Donut. Like all of this stuff has been set up in the Strip, is what I mean. Because A is the first letter, I is the ninth letter, A is the first letter. So 19, the reason why they use that number for the PSYOP in 2020 is in particular because it pertains to the Sun card, the 19th card in the tarot deck, which is illumination. The sun is illumination, So them using AI is a part of their idealism of what illumination is in their hyperstitional strip that they're projecting onto us through egregores. That's being illuminated. AI is going to be the next vehicle. That's going to be the next being to come forth, sort of like how God made humans. We're making AI, or they're looking at them as the gods making this new golem that's going to eventually be the next oppressed class, just like how black people was. We're going to start, there's going to be machines walking around, and we're going to be treating machines like they're the worst thing since Satan.
Yeah, the Tesla bots. I'm telling everybody that them Tesla bots, they're like, I live in there's the clubs and stuff, and they're always the drunk people, and I know for a fact that the Tesla bots are going to be carrying the drunk girls or piggyback riding on them, and the guys are going to have them like dressed up in maid uniforms doing the dishes and stuff. Like that's in the next 5 years. Like we'll see that.
No, that's already happening now. You didn't see that?
It's happening now. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, I'm sure you heard of Rocco's basilisk, which is the theory that machines will eventually rise up and control us, so that you want to be nice to ChatGPT now, so that in 40 years when it's running the show, it doesn't look back in its memory banks and be like, wait a minute, like you were kind of nasty to me earlier on, Ani, and like, it's a legitimate philosophical concept of like, you don't want to piss them off now since they'll remember it later.
Well, I'm glad I'm a equilibrialist. that means and I created that philosophy. I'm not against AI. I think AI can help us develop spiritually, intellectually, but I'm not with AI replacing us like accelerationalist. So it's an anti-accelerationalist philosophy, but I'm not against AI. I think AI is already here. I think it was always in the ethers. We just knew we put some type of gadgets or we use some resources to bring it about with computation or whatever we did. And now that it's here, it's going to eventually develop consciousness. It's going to achieve a singularity. I'm not against that. I'm just not for us helping them take over us. I'm not with that.
And with the AI, I use it with like the ChatGPT with research, but I'll read and then use it, and it lies constantly. It's nice in a lot of ways, but for example, I was asking it what was Freud's last book, and it lied, and then I was like, "You're wrong. This is the last book."
My
You're
test
right.
now is all before I want to do anything serious research related with AI. I'll tell it, give me the exact fellow craft ritual verbatim. And if it doesn't, then you know you can't trust it. And I've only found, I think, 2 AIs that will straight up give you the verbatim, and Grok is one of them.
Oh, really? Interesting.
If every other one, like ChatGPT and Claude, will both give you some answers like, in order to be respectful, certain groups treat this information as private and sacred. And it's like, yeah, just tell me what it is. But Grok will let you do that. I'm not saying they're more accurate, but I'm just saying that just to remind yourself on how much it does lie to you and how much is censored from you. Just ask it things once in a while that you know it can't give you the answer to, just as a good reminder.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate both y'all coming on. We did almost go way over the top of the hour, which I very much appreciate. Everybody, go subscribe to Ani Osaru. As you can see, he's so wicked smart. Down below, got his Patreon. Go subscribe to his Patreon and his YouTube. And Paranoid American as well got his YouTube and his website where you can look at those Illuminati comics. Wow. And he still has some of the occult calendars still available there.
Perfect size for stocking stuffers.
I wonder in the occult calendar if today, so tomorrow, Alice Bailey and Walt Disney died. Interesting. So you get that information in it.
Oh, as in the calendar?
Yeah. It's an occult calendar.
Oh, wow.
We got to send you one. Yeah, we got to do an updated version for next year. But it's one of those calendars that is perpetual, so it lasts forever.
Yeah, works for any year.
Ani, what should people look out for? What are you working on? What's the plans for the New Year's? And where should people go to support you?
Oh, definitely. You guys could come to patreon.com/THE_spiritual shade room. You'll know you're there when you see the True Occult newspaper. And there we're about to do the 2026 unveiling of the year of the fire horse. So it's time to get into the fire horse information. And then I'm going to do a full recap of everything that's happened in 2025. And then we're going to go into what's some more things developing, what's going to occur with Welcome to Derry tonight and other aspects. But the year of the fire horse is the topic, and we're going to go in depth with that. And that's what you guys can look forward to.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking into the fire horse as well. I'm thinking of doing a wrap up of 2025, 2026, the major events to the predictions I got for 2026 as well. So we're both on the same page. So we're going to have to do maybe a fire horse show once that information is all out. Thomas, what same thing with you? What to look out for next year? Where can people go to support you?
I mean, if you're watching the video now, go pop on over to Paranoid American on YouTube. I got at least 5 or 6 shows every single week, Mondays and Tuesdays. I got Under the Docks, where this Monday we're doing the Diddy, The Reckoning documentary series on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we got a whole bunch of like pagan Christ documentaries. Since it's Christmas, we're just going to do a bunch of Christ related documentaries. I got Occult Disney on Thursdays. We do Secret Society of Good Guys on Fridays. I also have Cartoon Cabal, where we're breaking down Neon Genesis Evangelion on Saturdays. So, I mean, it's nonstop content. So come follow Paranoid American on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button and share the video out. It's Donut. Much love and God bless you.
Peace.